I mean, the situation, according to the news reports that I've been watching this morning onwards, been quite serious, but clearly they've been exaggerated. And I think what the United States government is now up to, and has been up to for some time, is extremely sinister. We have heard today from Newsweek that Blackwater, an organization which recruits mercenaries for wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, etc., is prepared to send 40,000 mercenaries into Venezuela to try and topple the government. And they say quite openly that these mercenaries will be Latin American people who will speak Spanish, and they will therefore be able to fraternize with people in Venezuela. So the fact is that they are now in a state of desperation. They thought that they had it all planned out. They thought that Guaido would be in power by now. They have been frustrated. This frustration is making them more and more dangerous. What is vital, I think, to understand is that even within the European Union now there is unease. The European leaders are nervous about what is going on. The Germans have withdrawn their recognition. It's shameful that they did this in the first place, but we have a legally elected government in Venezuela which is being toppled. Attempts are being made to topple it openly by the United States and many of its allies, but things in South America are changing. You know, the elections in Mexico, I don't know how long Bolsonaro will last. He's not looking very stable. They attack Venezuela all the time, but their pin-up boy in Argentina, Macri, is in serious trouble. There is talk that Kirchner might win again. So the notion that the whole of South America has moved to the right, I think, is exaggerated. And I think there's no doubt that the United States now, under a government led by Trump and with people like John Bolton, who's a semi-fascist, completely shameless, but they're open. The masks are off. They tell us what we're going to do. We're going to change regimes in South America if we don't like them and anywhere else in the world. So let us hope that this doesn't happen. So far, which is of extreme importance, the Venezuelan army has remained loyal to the government, apart from small groups. We also know that internationally there is support outside the NATO alliance for the government in Venezuela, the legally elected constitutional government of Venezuela led by Maduro, and that the Russians and the Chinese have made it very clear that they're going to sit back and watch this happen. But the fact is that the United States, of course, is a powerful country. The only way it can be defeated is by mass mobilizations, and of course the knowledge that if they send in their own troops or mercenaries recruited by Blackwater, they'll be resisted. Another point has to be made. It's now clear, it was always clear, that Guaido, Lopez, and some of these other opposition leaders are basically calling on a foreign state, an imperialist state, to come and take over their country and help them. In any country of the world, this is high treason. There's no other word for it. To call on another country to come and invade your own country, which government in the world would tolerate that? And so there are many people who actually think, myself included, that something needs to be done. These leaders need to be taken into custody and tried. I mean, that is what they're up to.
So Tariq, we've seen the defense minister speaking on behalf of the Bolivarian Armed Forces saying that they want the opposition to stop this violence. Can they actually ask for that? Will that be able to happen? Because if we have an escalation in Venezuela, what is the possible outcome that could happen?
Sorry, I didn't get the first part of your question.
Yes, the Bolivarian,
Who is saying?
the armed forces are calling for peace and calling for the opposition to stop the violence. Could that be possible? Can they have that power against the whole opposition, the U.S. support, the OAS supporting everything that's happening at the moment?
Well, I think, of course, they're correct to do this, and it's a call which should be supported. However, they should know better than most that it's not just the Venezuelan opposition we're dealing with. We're dealing with the United States of America and its allies and its mercenaries, political mercenaries, ideological mercenaries, and now we are told armed mercenaries are on the way. That the essential thing that needs to be done is that it should be made very clear by the military and by groups, Bolivarian support groups, that there will be resistance if there's any attempt to invade Venezuela. Because, they have set up a way of operating in the Arab world, which is that they occupy a country, they wreck it, they kill its leaders, the country is divided. If you look at Iraq, you look at Libya, you look at Syria, the pattern is clear. And it's shameful, I repeat it is shameful that South American governments who know the history of their continent, who claim sometimes to speak in the name of Bolivar, are now actively encouraging the largest and only imperialist power in the world to come and invade Venezuela. This is unacceptable, and I hope the Venezuelan military knows, they must know, that this is what is going on. And I think it's one thing to appeal to the opposition. The appeal should be a public appeal to the world, saying, please try and stop the United States from coming and raping our country.
And now, for our last question, another issue would be this possible debate or discussions for peace that President Maduro is proposing. Do you see this actually ever happening?
I think, well, look, any negotiations are welcome. Anything that can stabilize the situation in Venezuela. I've been to the country many times and have much, much love for the ordinary people of this country and the Bolivarian changes that have been made. People should know, and I think they do, that if the United States succeeds in changing the regime in Venezuela, all the social gains, the health clinics, the cheap housing, all these will be taken away. They will be privatized. Guaido and his cronies have made no secret of that. So I'm in favor of negotiations. But the thing is this, Washington seems to be determined to remove the Maduro regime, the government, the elected government in Venezuela. If they are convinced, then how can the people who've been working with them negotiate in good faith? That's the problem.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Tariq, for your time and for your very important thoughts on this issue.